It was early afternoon with a dark and cloudy sky south of Hugo, Oklahoma. In the middle of July, Benny Scott was staring at a red spot on his screen with purple in the center. The sight looked really mean. If he could get there in 2 hours, he might catch an awesome sight of it crossing Lake Eufaula in the early evening light. Perhaps an EF5 tornado reaching to the ground, ripping up the real estate and throwing it all around. He wasn't seeking thrills, he only wanted to make them proud, to be the front runner to those monsters from the clouds, chasing all the storm fronts out on those open plains, hoping the folks in Hugo would recognize his name. The middle child of 3, Benny never seemed to clear the bar he felt his family held up so high and dear. Little brother was an athlete, a high school football star. Big sister was in med school, she was really going far. Well, he thought he was an also-ran, man who never won, 'cause Benny never led the pack at anything he'd done. Then one day on the TV screen he saw that fateful show of what were running around the country chasing tornadoes. He wasn't seeking thrills, he only wanted to make them proud, to be the front runner to those monsters from the clouds, chasing all the storm fronts out on those open plains, hoping the folks in Hugo would recognize his name. Well, he loaded up his gear and he started on his drive. He got there around 4:30 and the storm front came at 5. He hoped to take a photograph like no one has before. He barely had his tripod set, the wind began to roar. 30,000 feet of thunderheads were building to the sky, and then he saw the funnel from the corner of his eye. He focused on his prey, he never looked around. He didn't see the billboard that was ripped out of the ground. Now the tempest was spectacular as it danced about. Then he never saw it, 'cause he was bleeding out. Remnants of that billboard struck him in the head. Benny Scott lay on that Oklahoma prairie dead. Back down south in Hugo, his family and friends had gathered there to mourn the news of Benny's tragic end. Why did he have to run away and chase that old cyclone? Did he not know how precious that his presence was at home? He wasn't seeking thrills, he only wanted to make them proud, to be the front runner to those monsters from the clouds. Didn't know the love he craved was there all of the time. The ones he left behind him, well, they were like his own gold mine. Oh, the love he craved was there all of the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna play a love song for you now. Y'all like to hear a love song? You got your sweetheart with you. You look her straight in the eyes. This is a love song for the age of social media. One day I launched my browser pure knowledge to acquire. An image came up on my screen, it set my heart on fire. She smiled at me with big brown eyes, too lovely to describe. She asked me to like her and also to subscribe. She's the girl of my streams, I saw her on the net. It started with a Facebook meme, the subject I forget. Now she shows up everywhere, cat videos and spam. She's recommended by you too. Follow her on Instagram. I really just had to meet her. I clicked to find her store. Bought 3 t-shirts and a mug, tote bag and much more. But to a message down below, lovesick eyes were drawn. To really get to know me, please join my Patreon. She's the girl of my streams, I saw her on the net. Well, it started with a Facebook meme, the subject I forget. Now she shows up everywhere, cat videos and spam. She's recommended by you too. Follow her on Instagram. Well, I finally got to know her. I'm happy to report her page tells all about her and her levels of support. And for inside information and exclusive streams deluxe, I can join her inner circle 1 month for $30. She's the girl of my streams, I saw her on the net. It started with a Facebook meme, the subject I forget. But now she shows up everywhere, cat videos and spam. She's recommended by you too. Follow her on Instagram. I'll follow her on Instagram and Twitter, that's X now, and Facebook and WhatsApp and from YouTube and TikTok. Girl of my streams. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, this next one, I just washed the strings, can't do a thing with them. Well, this is a story of a couple that, well, I'm not really sure where they stand. It's called Sandy Bernard. Sandy Bernardi is a backyard bard who slips into verse when times get hard. He's gotta make amends with those he offends, 'cause his rapier words say just what he intends to do. Well, he had him a wife, she was always causing strife, bound to end up in prison for the rest of her life. She had more than one name, but her favorite was Jane. She cried all the time 'cause she was going insane, boo-hoo. I once knew them both and they scared me so. I looked for them in the alleys everywhere I'd go. One day Jane went wild, went to Sandy and smiled, said, "Guess what, love? We're gonna have us a child." Well, Sandy got mad, didn't want to be a dad. "I'm leaving you, woman," that's all that he had to say. So Sandy went to town, he was gonna mess around, but Jane found out, she went and tracked him down. She pulled out a gun and said, I'm ending your fun. I'll send you to hell, you'll never see your son, no way. Well, I saw her pull the trigger and I watched him fall. The cops grabbed Jane and they threw her up against the wall. They took Sandy to the dock, he was just down the block. They pulled a slug from his shoulder while Sandy took stock of his own careless ways and the way he spent his days. The way he treated Jane left him hanging in a haze of guilt. They took Jane to jail, but Sandy paid her bail. Only got probation because the prosecutor failed. Much to his surprise, the jury realized they were both victims of the way their lives were built. Now, I heard Sandy say she's my heart's delight. Now Sandy and Jane stay at home with their son every night. Yeah, they turned out all right. They turned out all right. Turned out all right now. All right. Just one disclaimer, I do not recommend the use of firearms for marital counseling purposes. So. All right.
That's the bag that comes in. So that's what kind of material is that guitar made of?
Carbon fiber. That's the latest thing. You get your carbon fiber golf clubs, they cost you $20,000 or something like that. The nice thing is, it doesn't really care about temperature. I can leave this thing in the trunk of the car in the Texas heat and not worry about it. And it stays in tune, except when you put new strings on it. All right, this next song was written for a songwriter challenge sometime in the last year. It's called Horizon. She stood there on the beach, her eyes were focused out to sea. Something on her mind, I wasn't sure if it was me. I asked her what was wrong, dear, she said don't know where to go. The horizon is so hazy and much that we don't know. She said, babe, we gotta look towards our future. Gotta search beyond the distance we can see. I said the present's where we're at, we don't be ignoring that. Instead of the horizon, wish she had her eyes on me. Well, how can you just stand there and not feel the same way? How will we get along then with our meager pay? Can we handle anger when we should disagree? Are we gonna have children and how many will there be? She said, babe, we gotta look toward the future. Gotta search beyond the distance we can see. I said the present's where we're at, We can't be ignoring that. Instead of the horizon, wish she had her eyes on me. I said, just like a shipwreck when abandoning your craft, don't let yourself sink down while you're looking for a raft. It's true we need to make some plans to guide us on our way, but we gotta make it through the now to get to in that day. She said, babe, we gotta look toward the future. Gotta search beyond the distance we can see. I said, the present's where we're at. We can't be ignoring that. Instead of the horizon, wish she had her eyes on me. Instead of the horizon, wish she had her eyes on me. Thank you, thank you. Well, this next one is a song that's been one of my favorites. Get a lot of requests for it. And just last January, it was announced that it was the 2023 Dallas Songwriters Song of the Year. Rattlesnake Rita was a cattleman's daughter. She danced with the rattlers she found near Sweetwater, strutting the stages of the great Lone Star State. But dancing with a diamondback is dancing with fate. Now dance, Rita, dance. You know it seems such a strange circumstance. You look so demure with your reptile de jour, but you're taking a terrible chance. Yes, you're taking a terrible chance. Dimebox Danny fell in love with sweet Rita, saw her on the stage, well, he just had to meet her. He stood at the stage door that very same night. When Rita saw Danny, it was love at first sight. Now sway, Rita, sway. Oh yes, it looks like true love's come your way. But a serpent gets jealous when you're out with other fellas. He could come back and bite you someday. Yes, he'll come back and bite you someday. The stars in the West Texas sky smile down on the low, now arising like a new butterfly. Oh, they strolled down the lane, but that viper was quicker, wrapped round Rita's leg just to try and to trip her. Rita, she stumbled, she fell on her fanny, and as she went down, that old snake bit poor Danny. Now cry, Rita, cry. Oh, dear Lord, don't let poor Danny die. But the toxic old venom, well, it was already in him. He was bound for the sweet by and by. Yes, he's gone to the sweet by and by. Well, that is the end of this tragic little story. Rita's in mourning, Danny's gone to glory. And of that Ophidian the people did dread. Well, they grabbed that slimy varmint and they cut off his head. Now learn, Rita, learn. Oh, these toxic relationships burn. It's all black and white with companions that can bite. Some bridges you just have to burn. Oh, rattlesnake Rita, some bridges you just have to burn. All right. This next one is one of the first song I ever wrote by myself. When I started this songwriter trek, I wanted to bare my soul, pour out my spirit, and reach out to the human condition. So I wrote a song about barbecue. All around this great big world, we all love barbecue. And I started on the wrong chord. I'm sorry. All around this great big world, we all love barbecue. In every land a different style, let's just name a few. Now the Germans grill their bratwurst, Virginians smoke their ham. Canada they roast wild game, while Greeks kebab their lamb. Shrimp on the barbie, in the land down under. And here in Texas brisket just fills our hearts with wonder. But in the District of Columbia, prepare your knife and fork, 'cause in our nation's capital, they specialize in pork. Well, let's all go down to the DC joint where the Congress gathers, and pork is the point. A tasty little tidbit couldn't get much dearer. The secret of the flavors in the smoke and mirrors. The elephants love it, the donkeys too. Yeah, they all want a great big piece of pork to chew. And when the Washingtonians enjoy their barbecue, pork is the point. Now a gentleman from Ohio wants to build a dam. He grabs a great big pork chop and he shares with Senator Sam. The rep from Alaska needs a new bridge. It's just a little pork loin she pulls out of the fridge. And a senator wants a stadium in sunny Tennessee. Well, these short ribs have no backbone, and neither does he. Well, let's all go down to the DC joint where the Congress gathers, and pork is the point. A tasty little tidbit couldn't get much dearer. The secret of the flavors in the smoke and mirrors. The elephants love it, the donkeys too. Yeah, they all want a great big piece of pork to chew. And when the Washingtonians enjoy their barbecue, pork is the point. Now this obsession with the pig must be some psychosis. All we can do is hope and pray they all get trichinosis. Well, let's all go down to the DC joint where the Congress gathers, and pork is the point. A tasty little tidbit couldn't get much dearer. The secret of the flavors in the smoke and mirrors. The elephants love it, the donkeys too. Yeah, they all want a great big piece of pork to chew. And when the Washingtonians enjoy their barbecue, pork is the point. Yes, sir. Pork is the point. Let's save our bacon. Pork is the point.
Amen, brother. Carnitas. Tacos.
All right.
Got one more.
Got one more, okay. Well, I'm going to sing you a song. They like country music here. This is a song I wrote to bring country music into the 21st century. It is called New Millennium Heartache. capo in the right spot this time. I've had my share of heartache. Well, it's a feeling I just can't endorse. Half dozen girlfriends have left me. 2 marriages ended up in divorce. My old hound dog ran off with a poodle. That was a terrible day, but it can't match the pain in my heart the day my self-driving truck drove away. Oh, my self-driving truck drove away, left me standing at the end of the road. She put herself in gear, she tore out of here. Well, I was just trying to unload. Well, she left me without any reason. Man, I hope she'll come back someday. And since I don't own a bike, I'll just have to hike. My self-driving truck drove away. I met her one day in the showroom of her little town's Ford dealership. I could tell by her headlights she loved me, and soon we'd be joined at the hip. Well, I'd wash her and wax her each morning, and she spent every night in the garage. I did all I could think of to spoil her, but she decided to get out of Dodge. Oh, my self-driving truck drove away, left me standing at the end of the road. She put herself in gear, she tore out of here. Well, I was just trying to unload. Well, she left me without any reason. Man, I hope she'll come back someday. And since I don't own a bike, I just have to hike. My self-driving truck drove away. I guess that I should have known better. I should have bought me a bus pass instead. Guess I was caught up in folly, 'cause my heart overruled my head. Now that I've learned my lesson, well, there's a moral I can't overstate, that a man makes a fool of himself when his transport becomes his soulmate. Oh, my self-driving truck drove away, left me standing at the end of the road. She put herself in gear, she tore out of here. Well, I was just trying to unload. Well, she left me without any reason. Man, I hope she come back someday. And since I don't own a bike, I just have to hike. It's starting to rain. Man, it drives me insane, because my self-driving truck drove away. Hey. Thank you. I'm Keith Dodson.